Hello, my name is Ben, and today we'll be talking about the finale of The Acolyte. It's going to be full spoilers for the entire series, so if you haven't watched this episode or the entire series, go watch that, come back, and we'll get right into it. So today's episode, I think, is on par with episode 5. Despite the fact that maybe the first few episodes were a bit wonky pacing-wise, and some people might think the writing wasn't so great in the first few episodes, I think the finale tied everything up super well. In fact, I think every single plot thread that was introduced in the first 1 to 2 episodes has pretty much been resolved in a really satisfying way. And not only that, we have several other plot threads introduced to go forward with this show, which I desperately want to happen. Yes, there's a lot of hate out there for The Acolyte, but honestly, the second half of the show, and the way it's been tying up all these plot threads, I think puts it up there as one of the better Star Wars shows. Okay, let's get into the actual episode. As a really quick run through of the episode, Osha, May, the Stranger, and Sol all end up on Brendok through various ways. There's a fight between the sisters, there's a fight between Sol and the Stranger, and it all culminates in Sol confessing right in front of Osha that yes, he killed her mother. And Osha, who by the way, Amanda Stenberg, great acting for both Osha and May, ends up killing Sol in anger. I did not see that coming. I thought, yeah, May wanted him to face his crimes with the High Council. I thought, yeah, okay, she's having a change of heart, that's where it's gonna go. But no, Osha just straight up kills him with force choking, and that leads to her bleeding his lightsaber red. Anyway, while they're on Brendok doing all their fighting, Venestra and a whole bunch of other Jedi come to Brendok as well because Sol, he left his signal on so the Jedi can come there. And just as they arrive, the Stranger and Venestra have a moment recognizing each other. So as Venestra comes in and storms the place with the other Jedi, Osha, May, and the Stranger escape. They meet up under the Bunta tree. And in order for them to try to get away as cleanly as they can, May gets her memory wiped by the Stranger, and Osha offers herself up to be trained as an Acolyte. So after that, the Jedi get May. She gets interrogated, but she has no memory of everything. And Venestra, who also has her own things going on, like with the Stranger, decides to cover this whole incident up by continuing to say that Sol was the perpetrator behind all these deaths. She doesn't just say it to the Jedi, she says it to some senators, who, as has been foreshadowed in previous episodes, want to set up this external review of the Jedi. And we end the episode with Osha and the Stranger back on the Cortosis planet, and also with Venestra telling May that they need to go in Venestra's past so they can find the Stranger who used to be a pupil of Venestra. And also that Venestra goes to Yoda as well. So yeah, a few plot threads introduced at the very end, but it's definitely not introduced in a cliffhanger way because this is the season finale, not the series finale. So really hope we get another episode. Anyway, let's get back on track. The acting. Oh my god, the acting. We have Sol. This is his last episode because, he dies. The love and the desperation that you feel from him as he's literally being surrounded is really palpable and really believable. And honestly, the way he goes out, just like understanding why Osha feels this way is just so heartbreaking. And you can feel the fact that he thinks he kind of deserves this. And you have Amanda Stenberg, as I said before, nails it, knocks it out of the park, gets really emotional as both May and Osha. And honestly, their scene under the Bunta tree, where they're just hugging each other, finally happy that they're on the same page, that they're together, and that they're about to be separated once again. And the Stranger just being this calculating villain. Like, yeah, he's been thrown into these situations where he's like, oh yeah, I'm not sure about this, but then you can see his mind just clicking like, okay, I can make this work for me. And then you have Venestra with fucking Wallendorf. From what I've gathered, you grew up nice and sheltered with mama's... Rey and Court. Their scenes together are really good. Like, I love politics in Star Wars. I know that's not a really popular opinion, but I really think that, like, in the prequels, the politics really fleshed out the world and what the Jedi were against politically. And the fact that they're carrying it over into the Acolyte, I'm a really big fan of. A lot of the character stuff as well. Like, Osha, she was just letting loose with her emotions, and it, like, really built up to her bleeding Sol's lightsaber red. I thought that was magnificent. Like, this is the first time we've seen it in live action. We've seen it in the Vader comics. We've seen it in Jedi Survivor. But the first time in live action, I thought it was done really well. And the build-up of all her emotions throughout, not just this episode, but the entire series, was really well done. Like, we see her struggling with the Force because, she wants to connect to the light side to use the Force. But the fact that she's finally letting loose with the Force, and the fact that it's done with the dark side, I think is really great character-wise. And to get onto all the actiony stuff, I thought the chase sequence through the asteroid belt at the beginning was really great. You really felt, trapped in. It was very claustrophobic. And I think that kind of highlighted how they both felt. They just both felt trapped by this situation they were in. And you have the lightsaber fight between Sol and the Stranger, and the melee fight between Osha and May. Those two were so incredible. Like, you can definitely tell that these fights weren't just to have action. You could tell that these were like really motivated by the characters and how they would actually react. And that's something that this show has done extremely well throughout the entire show as well. But I think that the action scenes in this episode are on par with episode 5. And like, this shot right here, so fucking good. So good. Honestly, overall, I think the way it ties up all the story threads and, gives us a few more to follow up on was really well done, despite, a few missteps in the first few episodes. Yeah, I'm still kind of on a high after watching this episode, so my thoughts aren't fully fleshed out. I'm probably going to make a video covering the entire season as a whole. But yeah, those are my initial thoughts on this season finale of The Acolyte. Tell me what you thought down below, and if you like what you watched, make sure to subscribe, check me out on Twitter, and until next time, when the adventure continues.